New Zealand says it will extend the lockdown measures in place by another week. The Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, says the country will move out of Alert Level 4 next week as the extension expires. However, she says New Zealand will then remain at the lower alert level of 3 for 2 subsequent weeks. As Owen reports, the country has a relatively low amount of confirmed cases.
New Zealand was due to come out of a 28-day lockdown this Thursday, but the 5-day extension until next Tuesday gives health officials valuable time to plan for the next stage in the fight against COVID-19. Random testing has indicated that the virus is not spreading in the community, but more time is needed to make sure that New Zealand has a reliable contact tracing system so that any outbreaks of the virus can be tracked and traced within 3 days to stamp it out. The Prime Minister says that New Zealand has made a quantum leap toward eliminating the virus, but she doesn't want to lose any of the gains by coming out of lockdown too early. It's worth remembering that New Zealand's main objective is to eliminate COVID-19, so closing borders early and going into lockdown has seen a big drop in new infections. So far, there have been only 12 deaths here, and to put that into perspective, New Zealand's death rate is just 2.4 for every 1 million people, compared to a death rate of 123 per million in the United States and 450 per million in Spain. Like most countries, New Zealand wants to get the economy up and running as soon as possible, and easing the restrictions next week will potentially get 500,000 people back into work. That's about 20% of the workforce. Only businesses classified as essential could operate during the lockdown, but that will be relaxed next week to include safe businesses. But business life here in New Zealand is still going to be far from normal. Cafes, restaurants and hotels must remain closed, but those who can offer a takeaway service can remain open. The same applies to other retailers who can only operate online with home deliveries. Getting the $40 billion construction sector back to work presents major challenges, and there's going to be strict new hygiene standards which require people to work in separate teams. Tools and clothing will have to be disinfected every day, and everyone will have to take meal breaks 2 metres apart. Unfortunately for the elderly, retirement homes will stay under lockdown, but the government wants every child under 14 years of age to go back to school next week, although that idea has drawn protests from some teachers who say it won't be safe to have dozens of youngsters in the same space together. But as the Prime Minister says, the fight against COVID-19 is going to be a marathon, and the key message for most people is still the same: stay home and save lives for the next 2 weeks at least. Owen, CGTN, Auckland.